Amazon workers in Laval can form union. Students at U of T encampment say they are not leaving after meeting with the administration. Tunisian lawyers call for strike after colleague is arrested. Spanish Socialist Workers' Party wins in Catalonia's regional parliamentary elections. And flash floods devastate Afghanistan. Good morning. It's Tuesday, May 14th. I'm Nora. Here are your headlines. I'm starting today with an update on a story from last month. Recall that workers at an Amazon warehouse in Laval, Quebec, had applied to unionize with the union Confédération des syndicats nationaux in April. That is the CSN. Well, yesterday, Quebec's Labour Tribunal accredited the workers' unionization, making it the first Amazon warehouse in Canada to do so. The CSN will now represent 200 workers at the Laval warehouse and is only the second union in North America to actually form at an Amazon site. Regarding the workers, CSN's president Caroline Senneville told Erica Morris at the CBC this, quote, "These are people who need to improve their working conditions. Amazon is a multinational company. There are ways to ensure those who work for it aren't jeopardizing their health, that their labor isn't considered disposable," unquote. She called accreditation a critical first step in gaining better working conditions for warehouse employees. Amazon had already declared its intention to contest the accreditation before it was granted. A hearing is set on June 10th, my birthday, for the company to challenge the decision. Next, there's more news coming out of student encampments. Organizers at the University of Toronto encampment say that they will remain indefinitely until the university administration meets their demands. These comments come after a dozen organizers met with university administration on Sunday to discuss their demands. According to the CBC article reporting this story, those demands include, quote, disclosing a complete list of the university endowment's investments, divesting from assets that sustain Israeli apartheid, occupation, and illegal settlement of Palestine, and that the school cut ties with Israeli academic institutions that operate within the occupied territories or support Israel's military efforts, unquote. And I have to note that it is so bizarre that universities are allowed to be so untransparent about where they put their money. This is an issue that transcends the genocide in Gaza, but it just shows how implicated universities have become in operating basically capitalism. Like, we don't know where students' money is investing, and then the universities, when challenged to provide that information, do everything they can to not provide that information. Organizer Calliope Anvar McCall said that while the university seemed open to dialogue, they outright rejected the demand to cut ties with Israeli academic institutions. The organizers said that the university told them that it would create a, quote, ad hoc working group, unquote, to investigate divestment and disclosure. They have given the university until June 30th to respond with more firm commitments, but Anvar McCall said that there are no plans to remove the encampment. They told CBC News this, quote, "We live here now, and we will live here as long as needed to have our demands met. We've cleared our calendars for the summer. We've cleared our calendars for the fall. We're comfortable staying here for our demands to be taken seriously and for actual commitments to be made," unquote. And just some late-breaking campus encampment news from elsewhere. Tomorrow, the injunction is set to be decided in Montreal about whether or not the McGill encampment can be cleared. The university tried already to use an injunction to clear the encampment, and it failed. And so good luck tomorrow, I guess, McGill students who are hopefully going to be able to stand their ground. But in solidarity, students have already set up a camp at UQAM, which is also in Montreal, the Université Québec à Montréal, and we'll see what happens there. There's also been an encampment set up at the University of Waterloo. Students there set that up and announced it last night. Next, now to international news, and first to Tunisia, where lawyers say that they will strike after a prominent government critic was arrested over the weekend. Sonia Dahmani made sarcastic comments directed at the government on a television program last week. Dahmani is the latest in a long list of dissidents arrested in the country. It comes after, you will remember this from the Daily News, Sadia Mosba, a Black Tunisian activist whose work focuses on African migrants, was arrested on charges of money laundering less than a week ago. Mosba is also a well-known critic of the government. In reaction to Dahmani's arrest, the Tunisian Lawyers' Council called for a nationwide strike on Sunday. Other civil society groups and labor unions joined the strike. The Tunisian General Labor Union, among others, joined the lawyers at their union headquarters on Sunday in solidarity. Human rights organizations also expressed their concern and outrage at her arrest. Next to Spain, where the governing Spanish Socialist Workers' Party won big in Catalonia's regional parliamentary elections. The party's win broke the majority held by pro-independence parties for more than a decade. The Socialists won 42 of 135 seats in the regional parliament, while the hardline Separatist Party won 35 seats. The more moderate Separatist Party took 20, 13 less than in the last parliament. The Socialist Party's leader, Salvador Illa, said the win marked a new era for all Catalans, regardless of where they stand on independence. Finally, there have been lots of stories about flooding across the world, specifically from Kenya to Brazil. Well, the latest flooding news comes from Afghanistan, where flash flooding has killed 300 people, according to the UN's World Food Program. Authorities declared a state of emergency as the floods impacted several provinces in the country. Thousands of homes have been destroyed and over 1,000 people have been injured. A spokesperson for the Interior Ministry said that hundreds of people are missing. Afghanistan has had a very dry winter, which has made it difficult for soil to absorb rainfall. The UN Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in Afghanistan said on Twitter that the country is especially vulnerable to climate change and that these floods are a reminder of that. Those are your headlines for Tuesday, May 14th. I'm Nora. It's Tuesday. It's Sandy and Nora Day. So in a couple of hours, we are going to release a new episode looking at campus encampments. Where are we at with that? And why are they still important? And how can you get involved? And how do we know that they're doing things right? All of that will be up in a couple of hours. Stay tuned to this podcast feed to hear your weekly dose of Sandy and Nora. You are listening to this podcast at sandynora.com, on the Real News Network podcast feed, and anywhere you get your podcasts. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.